Another brutal week for the markets as prices continue to crash. The next Avalanche application you do not want to miss, and a ray of hope for the NFT market. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. As usual, I'm not a financial advisor. If you appreciate these videos, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, and let's jump right into it. Starting with the price action of the crypto markets. It has been a brutal week. A lot of people are feeling the pain. We have Bitcoin at roughly $84,000, ETH under 2,300, and Solana down over 50% from the all-time highs at $137. So I know a lot of people are bearish. People are fearful that this market is done, that we are going into a bear, that Bitcoin is going to go much lower. And I have no idea if that's going to happen. Nobody does. We are all just making bets on what we believe is going to happen. Now, despite all of the negative news and, you're probably seeing Bitcoin's going to 70K, 60K, whatever price targets, there's a lot of positive things that are happening for crypto that are getting overlooked because of the price action. And I understand it. Price is the main thing we all look at. Believe me, I'm refreshing my charts 20 times a day. However, if we look at some of this positive news, we have the SEC dropping charges against a ton of companies that operate in America. We have Coinbase, Robinhood, OpenSea, Uniswap, Gemini, and MetaMask all getting the charges dropped, which means it's going to be a lot easier for these companies to operate in America. We have banks now looking to drop their own stablecoins, with the Bank of America here saying once the lawmakers pass legislation, it's something they're interested in doing, which to me, this tells me this industry is here for the long run. We have Texas moving on to the next stage with their Bitcoin strategic reserve, which is now advancing to the Senate floor. And there's something like 14 other states that are trying to pass their own strategic reserve. So this is just going to have a snowball effect, in my opinion. Once one goes through, the rest are pretty much going to go through. But I know most of you want the American Bitcoin strategic reserve, which Trump promised us. And look, if he just did an executive order and said, let's make it happen, it can go through, but then it can get overturned by the next administration. So all this is being led by Senator Loomis, who here says we're in the early stages of Bitcoin and digital assets. If we're going to pass any legislation, we need bipartisan support. They want to do this the right way. They want to go through Congress, or I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's not just Trump signing a piece of paper and it happens. So I know that's not pleasant, especially with all the tariff wars that's going on and the crypto market's crashing. It's not limited to crypto. The stock market is also struggling, but this week was, or the last 2 weeks, I should say, were very brutal for the crypto markets here. You could see on the left side, it's red across the board, except for Valentine's Day. We got a little bit of relief being green, but 2 days ago, by the time you watch this video, we have the investors into BlackRock. Everybody always says BlackRock is dumping. It's not BlackRock. It's the investors into the ETF dumping over $400 million. So that's a ton of sell pressure, but they're still up $40 billion into this market. So that's still a lot in one day, but it's definitely not the end of the world. So I know you're probably scared that prices are going to go lower, which unfortunately that can happen, and that we might go into a long bear market. I do think we can chop sideways or go lower for multiple months and maybe not come out of it until maybe late summer. But no, you're not alone. The fear and greed index is at the lowest it's been since the FTX crash. And historically speaking, when it's this low, it's a good buying opportunity. Not financial advice. I cannot guarantee the prices are going to go up. I'm just talking about the data of the fear and greed compared to what happens in the following months. And it's worth noting that the M2 global money supply is on the rise here, as you can see in the last month. And typically, Bitcoin lags this by 2 to 3 months. So if the data here continues to correlate, Bitcoin technically should go up. But again, you cannot forget the macro environment. You cannot forget what's going on in the world, what Trump is doing, the wars, the tariff war, all of that. But outside of that, what is going on in this market and where are the money-making opportunities? Up until recently, most people were spending their days trading meme coins in the Solana trenches. But after the whole crime season put a damper on things, we are seeing a significant reduction in both the number of tokens launched through Pump Fund. As you can see, it has been downtrending here, as well as the number of tokens that are graduating every single day. It has been on a downward slope, and I believe it's the lowest it's been since last September. So So in other words, we're seeing a lot less runners every single day. If you remember a few weeks ago, multiple times per day, we'd have coins hit 10 million, 50 million, even 100 million daily. So that has really reduced the opportunities that are out there because people are basically fighting for scrap. And to make things worse, Solana is down over 50% from when the all-time highs happened after Trump launched his own meme coins. So even if you do get lucky and hit a 10x meme coin, it is worth in dollar values half of what it was worth just a few weeks ago. Now, while I still do believe in the trenches, I do not think trading meme coins on Solana is going anywhere. It's the most mainstream in terms of the tools available and where the masses like to trade. But there is no denying that the current market hype is still around AVAX launches. And that's mainly due to, we've talked about these many times, both Wink and Ket performing so well. The market did take a massive hit and meme coins across the board got obliterated. Ket held up pretty well, going as low as 280. It's currently at 340 million. So a good opportunity if you manage to catch the low, but it was pretty tough to catch the low. The one that was resilient here is Wink. It is fighting and keeping that 100 mil level, currently at 106 million. So the pre-sales everybody's looking for, of course, we have Memoria. We spoke about this one many times. They finally just did their raise. So the 3 different tiers you are able to get were 10 AVAX, 20 AVAX, and 30 AVAX. However, the one that is really stealing the show has got to be Blub. There was over 100,000 applicants for this meme coin in a very small period of time, which, look, there's not even 100,000 people in this market. Most of that is probably just bots. And I believe only 1,200 people qualified. So there's a lot of upset people who think they should have been in this, but did not manage to make the cut. But what I'm curious to see is what is the allocation going to be? Because we have Zir here. I don't know if this is a troll. He said this was on the website and then they pulled it. Here it's showing a 1 AVAX allocation and he's comparing it to Partners DAO, which was a $2 allocation because 1 AVAX is currently $22. And yes, if you turn $22 into 2,200 with an 100x return, those are amazing returns. But I think expectations are very high here after seeing people turn like less than $1,000 into $500,000 with the Ket presale, and their presales for Wink went to mid 5 figures all the way to multi 6 figures. So these are the expectations that the presales have set, but people have to realize that it's always diminishing returns and it's very hard to reproduce a Ket or a Wink. Now, the other thing I want to know is why has nobody addressed the FUD? I did see this article called Crime Season and it's kind of calling out the founder of Blub saying that, hey, he's changed his Twitter account multiple times, which I did verify this with CapTools. He has changed the account to all of these names. And he goes on to show multiple rugs that were done by this account. And when I've brought this up to people who are working on the Blub project, when I've brought it up to other content creators who are just constantly pushing the Blub presale, everybody just says, who cares, it's going to cook, which I understand that mentality. Like I've been there with whitelists where your goal is just to flip, right? You don't care what happens with the project a day, a week, a month after it launches. But if we get something that goes wrong, especially majorly wrong with one of these projects, it's going to put a damper on this whole AVAX meme season narrative. So I really hope it does work out for those who did manage to get approved. Look, I didn't get approved. You might say I'm salty for bringing this up, but it's something that I want to see addressed. It's something I've asked multiple people about and everybody's either ignoring it or they just say, who cares? Like, yeah, I saw it, but who cares? Now, the third one and the one I'm personally most excited about is going to be Woof by Wolves DAO, which is a group I've been a member of for a very long time. I'm also super tight with the founding team. And they recently announced that they are going to be dropping their coin on Avalanche, which I feel is the perfect fit for multiple reasons. Wolves DAO is, in my opinion, the #1 gaming community. And with Avalanche being the #1 gaming chain, it is a perfect fit. But I know they also dabble a lot in AI, and this project is AI. So it's a perfect crossover from AI and gaming. And they're really hitting on the 2 key areas that Avalanche wants to be a part of. Now, they also did drop a thread explaining what the project is about. If we quickly run through the 4 pillars, they have woofxbt, which is going to be an AI agent similar to AIXBT and some of these other ones, toned down. They don't just want it to randomly tweet a bunch of stuff half of it being wrong. The next thing they're going to be doing is they're using all of their data, which they've gathered from their server over 3 years, which is made up of the top gaming minds. It's made up of the top VCs, some of the top founders and content creators. So they have a ton of data to use here. They also talk a little bit about gaming culture, but the one that excites me the most is going to be the Woof Companion, which is going to start off as a Telegram mini app, and it's going to give you a ton of information about games, the gaming ecosystem, especially if you attach your wallet to it. It's going to be able to give you updates based on your bag. So if there's a huge announcement and something is pumping, you're going to get alerted. If there's a rug that happens, you're going to get alerted, whatever. So I'll link all of this down below, including a video by Peyton talking about the project in the description down below. However, what's going to interest you guys is they did put out a form that you are able to sign up for an airdrop for this token for free. So unlike the other projects who are all doing pre-sale, these guys are just giving the token out for free. I believe by the time you watch this video, you should have something like 6 hours left to sign up, as it closes around 4:30 on Friday EST. As for airdrops and socialfi platforms, I'm seeing a ton of people talk about Ethos. Of course, my first reaction is when airdrop, after seeing the Kaido airdrop do so well. Every single socialfi platform, like the main motivation there is to get an airdrop. However, I gotta say, I have no idea if and when they are actually gonna be doing an airdrop, but that's usually most people's incentive for using these kind of platforms. Now, what I like about this is there's actually a use case to this platform. It's not just another socialfi app that you can dump once the airdrop happened, because they do have a plugin, and the plugin ties into the platform here because the platform itself is a review platform. You could think of it as a Yelp for Twitter accounts, where you could review KOLs, content creators, projects, whatever it is. And if I just quickly scroll down here at the top, that was funny. Here, Kevin Rose. People are leaving reviews of Kevin Rose. Obviously, he's getting bombarded because people are mad at him for what happened with Moonbirds. He only has a 3% positive review. So basically everybody gets a score, and projects are able to go look at content creators and see what people think of them. You're able to go look at a content creator and see, okay, is this person trustworthy? Do they do shills? What's happened in the past? Because other people that you trust are going to be doing reviews of these people. And what's cool, like I said, there is a plugin, so you're able to see this directly on Twitter as you're looking at tweets from a specific person. So overall, I do like this idea because it's a lot better than just having a blue check mark, or the other thing I typically look for when I look at somebody's profile is how many followers in common do I have with them. Now, another one that you could check out is Zentry. As I did notice last week, Sofon has joined Nexus, which is their version of Kaido, where you're able to tweet about stuff. And then if you get the watchers to engage with your content, you are rewarded points. So now Zentry is up to 5 different projects with Zentry, Ronin, Injective, OX Fun, and Sofon. It's super easy. It's free to do. And if you're already tweeting about this kind of stuff, it's worth signing up for, right? If you were tweeting last week about the Ronin NFTs that did well, Fishing Frenzy, and Fableborn, you could have been earning points on this platform the entire time. Speaking of gaming NFTs, Onchain Heroes continues to perform well, especially after it had that dip down to 0.3. I know Pranksy was out here fudding, even though he only has like 10 NFTs. I don't know why I even tweeted this stuff. It did crash the floor a little bit, but it has recovered as people are bullish on this project. People are playing the game. They are accumulating the hero token, leveling up their characters, and trying to work their way up the leaderboard. So I'm very happy to see how successful this project is doing so far. Of course, it's just the first or second week of the project. We're going to have to see how it handles multiple seasons, but the floor has held up incredibly well, and I would not be shocked if it continues to trend higher, especially once they finally open up the LP, which they did announce that only the ring holders are going to be able to add, or at least at the beginning, to add money into the LP, and they're going to be the first to be able to get fees. And the rings are doing really well, also back up to 1.73, so over a 2x if you bought the post mint dip. Now we also had the Ordinal Maxi Biz Black Eyes mint this week. They raised a whopping $7 million at the time where ordinals are down extremely bad, probably at the lowest they've ever been. I find this was a very weird decision to extract that money from the community. It is what it is. Thankfully, it was flippable. You only had whitelist though if you were a holder, and the rest of your assets are down extremely bad. So overall, I'm not sure if people are at a loss or actually made money from this, but at least the NFT itself is flippable. Currently roughly 0.01 Bitcoin above the mint price. Personally, I sold one into the evening of the mint because ZK was out here sweeping, in my opinion, just to get the floors up in order to create some hype for the Black Eyes mint and get like a distance between the floor and their mint price, which was expensive, especially for this market. And I have a second one. It unfortunately did not sell, and I don't know why anybody would buy an orange eye when you can just get a black eye off the floor. But maybe when he finally does announce something, which I've heard for 2 years, something big's coming, OMBs cannot be stopped. Allegedly, there was supposed to be an announcement right after the mint. As far as I know, it has not happened yet, but I'm still waiting to see if it's actually going to happen or if they're just going to keep their 80 mil and, I don't know, go hang out, because it's an art-only project at the end of the day. Jumping into Hyperliquid, we finally had the Hypers mint, which was an 8,888 supply collection, mint price between 2 and 2.5 hype, as there were different mint phases, but even still, they were only raising $500,000. It's not a crazy amount of money, and happy to say that it is performing well. Currently, you could only trade it on this platform that I've never used called Net Protocol. Personally, I'm waiting for drip.trade to open up trading on their marketplace, which just so happens to be the launchpad that this project launched on. But overall, happy with the performance of this project. It's currently a 5x, and you were able to mint 2 if you had whitelist. Now, we also finally have the bridge happening for Hypio because they were on base. They were waiting for Hyper EVM to launch, which it finally did. I made a tutorial on how to use it on Monday. I might film another one and just delete the old one because I am still getting a lot of questions about how to withdraw your money, how to stake and all that. Maybe I'll do an updated tutorial, but for the time being, finally you can migrate or bridge, whatever it's called, your Hypios from base over to Hyperliquid. I personally did it, and the floor is performing really well, currently at 1.2 ETH. So this collection has pretty much established itself as the main Hyperliquid community. So far, they've gotten 4 different airdrops. I'm sure they're going to get a lot more in the future. And along with the bridge, they also just launched a points system where just by bridging, I guess you have to connect. Maybe you don't even have to connect to this website, but I bridged and I did start automatically getting points. So I assume they're going to be using those points for airdrop allocation in the future, because I know the first airdrop they wanted to do either for the top holders or like retroactive, and they didn't end up doing that. They just airdropped across the board. So now that they have a point system on Hyperliquid, maybe they're going to be using that for their future airdrops. Now, quickly looking at ETH NFTs before ending this video, Doodles have just been trending downwards ever since announcing their token and pumping to 5 ETH. And if you look here, there was a couple of whales who just came in and absolutely nuked the floor here, dumping a ton. I'm seeing a lot of theories on Twitter saying, hey, Doodles might actually be a play here where it pays more than the current floor, depending on what the FDV is going to be for their token once it hits the secondary market. And that's partially due to them getting a full unlock on day one, 30% of the token being allocated to Doodles. And I don't think the secondary and third collection, so the Genesis boxes and the duplicators, are getting direct tokens. I think the duplicators just act as a multiplier for the space staking or whatever it's called. So if it's only Doodles getting an airdrop, the distribution to the holders is much better than projects like Pudgy Penguins and Anime. The distribution to the holders is potentially much better than we saw for Pudgy Penguins and Azuki. My fear here is that they don't manage to lock down a solid exchange, because after Pengu went down and Azuki's or Anime's been down only, I'm sure these exchanges are now weary about listing these NFT tokens. So I'm really not sure how to play this. I'm still holding my Doodles and I'm not going to dump them at these levels. I've actually been considering buying another one, believe it or not, just to lower my entry. I do think when they announce the date of the token, we're going to get a pump. So I would probably just sell into that pump and not hold one for the token. Maybe I'll gamble. If I think the token's going to do well, maybe I'll just end up gambling. The other project that I'm pretty heavily invested to is, of course, Jirasan, unable to break 0.4. Like, they have been bricked here for a while now. And I don't know, the market just really isn't feeling this, despite them announcing that Redacted is launching confirmed in March. They also have iAgent, which I believe is also launching in March. However, I don't know, maybe people are not feeling this collection, or they're completely tired of this meta. Maybe they're seeing something I'm not, or maybe they're just completely wrong. I'm currently holding 22 of these. Like if I sell now, I have to sell at a loss. However, with the price of ETH right now, these are what, like $1,000? How, like if redacted is at 100 mil, you're getting 25% unlocked on day one. So $250. And then the rest unlocked over 6 months to a year. It's going to be retroactive. So that alone, if it's able to hold a $100 million FDV, that is paying for your Jirasan. On top of it, there's over 10 airdrops that they've confirmed that holders are going to be getting over the next year. So I don't see how this thing doesn't just pay for itself over the next year. And that's not counting being able to dump the NFT, because no NFT goes to literal zero. Maybe it's going to be at 0.1 in a year. I don't know, but no NFT goes to literal zero. So I've been considering buying more. I'm already pretty heavily invested. I have 22. But I don't know, something about this, I want to take a gamble. I think the big issue that Redacted has is the communication. A lot of people still have no idea what Redacted is, what they do, how they're going to be making money. Because of the name, people still think it's a meme coin. So that's where I'm worried about putting more money into this project. However, for the time being, I'm just holding and we'll see what happens. But that being said, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification. Thank you for watching another Crypto Gorilla video. Peace.